if I just hear about the milk thing, if I just put my camera right here? Would you mind? This would be so cool if you'd do that, Ted. Because I did up a little clip the other day, and I was talking about how I came to Blackwell Dairy, and when I was a young kid, we at R.L.C, where I went from kindergarten to grade 7, I'd always get my milk tickets, and I'd get my white milk chocolate milk or yogurt. Now I think it was about probably 87 or 8 I started at R.L.C. But you were just about to tell me.
Well, what happened was we had set up, and I built the plant in '83, so I started my milk program in '84. And at that time, they weren't getting any milk. They never had a milk program. And so I showed them where they could give the kids a really good deal, but they would make enough for the school, and all they had to do was sell the tickets. And that first year, they bought all the uniforms for the volleyball team, and they were able to buy a computer of some sort. They made about $2,500 for the school on the milk program, and the kids got the milk at a very reasonable price. In fact, I think it was less than they would have.
I grew up drinking that chocolate milk. We used to trade it as currency for like home baking and things. If someone's mom left some special stuff, and
yeah, it works out really well for the schools and really well for the kids.
You're helping keeping the kids fed and healthy, and at the same time helping them raise funds for the much needed things at the school.
That's what I was so proud of, is that they bought all the uniforms for the volleyball team, and they bought a computer that year. They made about $2,500 for the school.
Your last name, Blackwell, it's a very prominent name in Kamloops, and you guys are known for quite a bit of helping and giving back to the community.
Do that, and the community appreciates you. And we do the tours all the time to explain to the kids where the milk actually comes from, and how the cows that how we look after them and everything else. Everybody has an understanding, and it's pretty nice. A lot of kids in the city don't even know that milk comes from a cow.
I like how you guys are set up, and your cattle are always getting outside activity. They're much loved animals here.
I don't know of any dairy farms that I know of that don't look after their cattle better than they look after themselves. They always come first. But yeah, you take a lot of pride in that. But it's hard when you hear about some dairy that's had cameras put on them and mistreated their cows and whatnot. And I often wonder if it's actually true, or they caught the dairy farmer in a critical situation where he was trying to save a cow and did everything. At the last resort, you do crazy things to save the cow, and it looks pretty gruesome, but the cow gets saved.
That's the reality of farming, and a lot of people don't understand what goes into it. And that was well said. That was a good way to.
Cows get themselves in the stupidest, craziest thing for no fault of the housing or anything you have for them, and the only way to save the cow is take desperate measures. And a lot of times it looks like you're hanging the cow, but actually you're pulling the cow around and getting it on its feet. You spray it off, and away it goes. It doesn't happen with us very often, but it does happen. If a picture was taken of that when you're trying to help the cows, it could be taken 10 different wrong ways. Well, I better get to work.
Thank you very much, Ted. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Would you mind? Can I ask you one more thing? And if it's too personal, I understand, and I don't mean to like cause any whatever. But growing up in Barnharville, I had heard that it was your brother that had driven off the Pinnacle, and that in the early '80s or late '70s.
1995. Christmas, the 15th. Yeah.
Oh, right before Christmas.
That was my son.
That was your son? That's the worst
Tod.
night. Right, Tod. I'm so sorry to hear that, and
I was going to the Blazer game that night, And I'd been up at the vet clinic, and they'd asked us to stop in and have a Christmas drink, so we'd stopped in there. And so after I finished there, I phoned Tod and asked him how was everything and how was he doing and what was he doing, and he says, "Oh, Dad, we're just sitting here on the couch. We went over and got a couple of videos, and we're going to watch a movie and whatnot." And that was about 9 o'clock. And just after 11, I get a call from Wayne Peelwich to say they can't find Tod. I says, "What do you mean? He's home watching a movie." Well, I guess some friends had rented this skidoo, and they came around, and Tod wasn't going to sit in the house and watch a movie if he could go out and play with the other kids. And so they got a big fire going up by the Red Bluff, and we had a friend. Tod had a friend staying with him at the house. They were cutting firewood on the weekend, and then anyway, I guess what happened was they told Tod to take the skidoo out for a ride, so he did, and he came back to the fire, but he came back to get the friend that was staying with us, and he was, what do you call it, dyslexic, or what do you call it when you lose control and you seize up?
Epileptic?
Yeah, and he'd had seizures before where um, Tod had to take over the steering wheel because he couldn't. And all I know is that the coroner reported that the other boy was driving the skidoo, so Tod would have stopped and says, "Here, I'll let you drive." And I think he seized up, and they went over a 300-foot cliff. Tod wouldn't have let him go by himself.
Thank you for telling me that story, because I've always wondered.